Well, I don't really have a practice routine, which I know people hate hearing that, but it's kind of the truth. And there's no magic bullet or pill or whatever terminology you want to use. You just have to do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And put yourself in situations where you're not going to sound good. It's just one of those things where the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, and kind of the more aware of your own sound you become.
Mark Lettieri on the podcast.
Hey, here we are.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, man.
We are
setting.
Yeah, it's a little different setting than Carter Vintage Guitars,
Okay.
but we're out here at the Woodshed Guitar Experience with Andy Wood.
Yeah, man.
Not a bad spot to be. Checking out the lake. How's the retreat been for you so far?
Great. Couldn't ask for a better time.
You've been teaching some classes and doing a lot of playing.
Yeah, both. Taught a couple classes, did some jams with the campers, and then just kind of soaked up all the energy and the knowledge from everybody.
Yeah.
Players, campers,
Any highlights so far?
Listening to Dan Huff talk today was really cool, just about his background and how he got into producing and how he got into session work and how he made the transition between the two. But I really enjoyed what Paul Gilbert had to say in Play the other day, how he looks at phrasing and kind of crafting improvisational pieces and things like that. And every artist has had something really unique to bring to the table, and then it's really been really fun watching. It's funny, it's calling them campers. I mean, we're all mostly adults here. So
Yeah.
Summer camp, but attendees play every night and take a little bit of kind of what we've been talking about in the classes and put it out there. In a real world situation. So
what were the topics that you covered in your classes?
I talked mostly about kind of rhythm guitar concepts, a little bit from a rock pop, a little bit from an R&B funk standpoint, and kind of how to like incorporate rhythm in a way that maybe so you can kind of get more mileage out of some of the chords that you already know, and how to like apply them to different grooves and to different ensembles. Like say you play with a second guitar player, or say you play with a keyboard player or something, and how to kind of use these shapes and things to, craft melodic rhythm guitar parts, I guess.
Yeah. I would love to dig into some of that stuff. Obviously, you have a ton of experience with Snarky Puppy and the Flyers and your solo project. How do you think about crafting rhythm parts and kind of arranging for... Actually, I'm really curious about how you arrange for a group with a lot of guitar players in it.
Yeah, sure. It's easier than it might seem. I think if you know, for example, the chord progression that you're tasked with playing, if you have two guitar players, a real simple thing to do is you could split the chord up into registers. I mean, if you have an A minor chord, somebody can take the bottom or even kind of the middle, and another player can take the top, or various other triads that they might put on top of that, while somebody else is playing something that's maybe more bottom heavy, right? Just simple register tricks that we'll use in Snarky Puppy. And then also, with a band that big, a lot of times the guitar players are just playing the melody anyway.
Yeah.
They're playing the melody with the horns, or they're doubling the bass line or something like that. So it's a tough band to be in, because you have to be adept at kind of blending in with different sections that you might not be always used to as a guitar player, right?
Yeah. What was that learning curve like for you?
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that band is, and it kind of goes the same with the Flyers and with the music that I write. If the chord is voiced like this, that's the voicing you need to play. Right? If it's a major 7,
do they write it out
chord like that,
the chart with the whole
with
voicing?
the flatted fifth like they're a raised 4, that's what you got to play. It's not really written out anymore.
Yeah.
It's all done with demos, and everyone just kind of learns by ear. And a lot of times there's a MIDI track in there, so you can actually just kind of look and see what the notes are. But it helps, because for example, if there's a written chart that just says C major 7, well, there's a million different permutations of that. But if there's a specific outline of the intervals that everyone needs to play, then everyone needs to play that.
Yeah.
And so that was hard for me.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes when I was first getting into the band and kind of like learning some of the stuff that was already recorded, I would pick out what I thought was the chord, and
Yeah.
it wasn't, or it was close to it, but there were like little notes in there that I didn't have.
And in the in the demos, you're responsible for certain notes within the chord, so you kind of
Right.
figure out like, is that the organ playing the thing, or is that the guitar player playing?
Right. Well, the method we try to have, at least when we go into a studio session, is that everyone learns all the parts if they
Oh, wow.
can.
Wow, that's cool.
All the chords, the bass part.
No kidding.
Well, because yeah, I mean, the composer might have a specific arrangement in mind for who's going to play what part, but oftentimes that changes.
Yeah.
And so when we're about to do a recording, you know, those live records, what everybody's got the headphones on.
Yeah.
In the rehearsals leading up to that, it's like, well, maybe we should try the melody with the guitar. And so hopefully you learn the melody, or you know, hey, Mark, can you double the bass line? Well, hopefully I learned the bass line. You know,
Yeah.
oh, okay, play the chords here in the solo section. So it's encouraged that everyone learns as much as possible, even the horns.
Mm.
You know, you get a horn, or you get a chord. If we want to split that up between, you know, 2 tenor saxes and a trumpet and a flute,
Yeah.
they need to know how to spell that chord, right? So that's what everyone's tasked with doing.
Yeah.
Do we accomplish that at every rehearsal? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot of music. But
How long are you spending with these tunes before playing?
well, it
Even before the
depends.
rehearsal.
It just kind of depends on the format. The latest album we did, which is coming out, I think, in November, was done with an orchestra in the Netherlands called the Metropole Orkest.
Yeah,
And
they're
it was
great.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can play anything. And so that music was written ahead of time, because it kind of has to be, because when you have that many people in a room, there's not really time for people figuring
Everybody's
out
solo.
stuff.
Yeah.
You need to know what was ready to go. And so Michael League had his demos ready for all of us ahead of time, so we were pretty well prepared. But the record prior to that was an album called Empire Central, which we recorded live in Dallas. And that one, there were a couple tunes that were done ahead of time, and then everything else was coming in during rehearsals.
On the spot.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
we would, you know, like day one, it was like, hey guys, let's do these 2 tracks that you already have. And then at night, here's 2 more that came in from 2 different other writers in the band.
Are they just giving you a lead
then what's-
sheet or something, or is it
No,
still a demo?
it's all
you just like
demos.
listen.
Everything was done by ear. And so then it's like, you know, by day 2 we have 4 songs. By day 3 we have 6, 8, 10.
Yeah. And are you charting them to keep them in mind so that like, no, you just memorize it?
Yeah, I just memorize it. I think I maybe had a couple little notes on one song because the form was kind of tricky.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, it was like A, B, C, half C, whatever whatever it was. But in terms of the actual parts, it's easier for me to just sink in, memorize it, internalize it, because I know I'm going to be playing it every night on a tour eventually. So if I'm going to be, and I'm not a great reader in the sense that I would want to sit there and sight read it and learn it that way. I mean, maybe if there's chords or something, it could help, but I at this point, I'm so used to just learning stuff that's really complicated by ear.
Yeah.
That that's
Was
what
that the
we
case
do.
before Snarky? Like,
Yeah, it honestly was. Because
where'd you pick that up?
probably playing in church. I played a lot of like in Fort Worth, like when I was in college, and kind of shortly thereafter was really involved in like the black gospel music scene in Fort Worth. And so there were no charts. You know, you'd get a burned CD on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, learn these 3 tunes by Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn by ear. I mean, that's how I learned all the songs for a wedding band gig too. You know, you're in a top 40 band. They're not giving you charts. They're going to give you a song list. You'd be lucky if you got a CD. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
most people now probably just point you to Apple Music or Spotify or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, I've definitely had to look at charts for certain things, but if it's something that I really want to learn and try to remember, I'm just going to try to memorize it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that entryway into gospel music? Because I know you didn't. Did you go to music school?
No.
How did you get into the gospel scene? How did you get those chops?
It was really cool, actually. I went to TCU in Fort Worth, Texas Christian University,
Cool.
where I studied advertising and public relations. That's kind of the family.
Super useful.
Family business, actually. I grew up in the Silicon Valley of California, and so my parents were in PR and tech and stuff like that. So I was kind of part of the lineage there. And I thought maybe it would be interesting to study. And you know, honestly, truth be told, at one point I probably thought I was going to be an advertising executive at some point in my life. But anyhow, when I was in college, I was basically just looking for musicians to play with, and starting a band and doing the whole thing as you do with original music. I'm a former band. I'm in college. There's got to be musicians around that
Were you songwriting at the time?
Oh yeah, I've been writing songs since I was 12.
Wow.
Since I learned my first couple chords. I mean, they weren't good songs.
Singer-songwriter stuff, or
Just
pure
whatever.
guitar-driven stuff?
Just whatever. Yeah, I mean, guitar-driven stuff, instrumental stuff with vocalists, just music.
Yeah.
And but so I got to TCU. Some of my friends from California, who I had played in a church band with, were getting into the gospel scene in like the East Bay and Oakland and stuff like that. And I was man, you got to check out gospel music, man. You're really gonna dig it.
Did you ever go to Glide?
But no.
Remember Glide in San Francisco? It's a huge gospel church, massive
I didn't.
Gospel choir.
No.
Anyway.
Well, I grew up in what they call, I guess, white church or whatever. It was a really interesting situation because when they would do the praise and worship, it was kind of more of the CCM stuff. But we had this Wednesday night youth group thing that was for the church, but really just for kind of like a secret thing for the community. And the band there would play anything from Bob Marley to Stevie Wonder to, I think we did a Metallica song once or twice, actually.
Huh.
And they were all really great musicians. I was kind of one of the younger guys in the band, but I was kind of mentored by the older players. And they went on to be professionals in the Bay Area and were kind of like feeding me like, hey, man, you got to check this out. And, if you want to get good at groove, I suggest you study, gospel music or something. And so I immediately was like, well, okay, well, there's probably something, and so I was at TCU looking for a band, looking for musicians to play with, and I stumbled into I found myself in the student union one afternoon, and the TCU gospel choir, we had a choir, was doing a performance, and they sounded amazing, and all they had in the band was a drummer. They didn't have an organist or anything like that, but the drummer was really funky and great, and I was like, I wanted to get to know you, John, and we're still great friends, right? I had coffee with him the other day, actually. And so I went and met John, and I was like, hey, man, like, do you need any more instrumentalists? And he was like, yeah, we don't have, it's just me right now. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know gospel music, but I have a decent enough background in funk and blues, I guess, that maybe I have somewhat of a foundation of sorts, at least in terms of time feel, Anyway, so I got into the choir, and through that choir, I met a bunch of really amazing local Fort Worth and Dallas gospel musicians that kind of all took me under and helped me out. And I'm sure I was a fish out of water in numerous situations, but when you're really thrown in the fire like that and forced to get good real fast, that's a really great way to get plugged in. And through that community was really kind of how I found Snarky Puppy and the guys that play in the Mark Lettieri group. And it's pretty much how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about what were some of the early lessons that you learned getting into gospel music?
I think a lot of it. The thing it really helped me the most with, not just with time feel and groove and how to sit in the pocket, but also finding melodic kind of colorful rhythm guitar parts, which a lot of that language is involved in R&B as well. But sometimes the chords are moving very fast, or they're very sort of advanced big voicings because they're done on an organ or keyboard or something. And so finding a way to make the guitar kind of an ornamental arrangement choice around the harmony, I think was something that I was forced into learning how to do.
Were you reading charts when you were playing the gospel?
No.
I guess no. It's just like recording. But like the changes can be kind of gnarly.
I know. It was a lot of like, hey, wait, one more time for me, please, and thankfully all of my friends were very patient. And like, well, it's kind of like you could do this,
Yeah.
So I definitely learned a lot from some of the keyboard players that I played with and bass players and drummers and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
One of the things that I noticed about your playing really early on, I went to go see you play with Bocante in San Francisco years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I was at that show with Jack Conte, who was my old boss at Patreon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went to go check it out, and I was like, you got to check out this guitar player. Mark Lettieri's amazing. And we went, and you were so reserved, like in the pocket. You held the perfect amount of space, and it was like you're a certified shredder, probably in like all 50 states, honestly. And it was cool to see. Jack actually mentioned it too. He's like the restraint. It's like only playing actually what the song needs, and not taking the Ferrari out of the garage when it doesn't need to be taken out of the garage.
Well, you know, the thing about that band and that show specific, I was subbing. I was filling in for Chris McQueen, who was one of the 2 guitar players in Belcante and one of the 3 guitar players in Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
And Chris couldn't do the tour, and thankfully, because that music, Michael League and Malika Tyrolian, the singer, I think wrote. I don't know if they wrote all of it or most of it or something, but
it's an amazing band.
Mike is very specific about parts.
Yeah.
And so there was no option to play something that wasn't the part in the song, unless there was that part of the song where it's like kind of more of an improvised thing. But the language in that band it draws a lot from African music and things like that, where like the things are really weaving in and out. And so if you go too far left field, the groove suffers.
Right.
You know, the feel suffers.
Mm-hmm.
And so those parts are very specific. Thankfully, Chris, he actually filmed himself playing the parts.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because on the record, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's very hard. It sounds amazing, but if you're trying to pick out individual things of what to learn, like, because I didn't know, is that your part or is that the other guy's part or what, you know?
Yeah.
So he actually filmed himself playing. He's like, okay, and then you're going to do this. I was like, oh, great. So actually learning the stuff was pretty easy. So thanks, Chris, for the video
Shout
out. Yeah, you know what? That's a big help. If you got a friend that's subbing for you, film the stuff.
That's huge.
It's huge.
That makes a big difference.
I wouldn't have wanted to read a chart. I had tried to pick it out by ear, but like I said, there were all these layers going on, and so I was like, I need to know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So help your friend out. Send him a video.
There you go. Talk to me about the writing process for the record that's coming out in November. Were you involved in the writing or mostly
the orchestra thing?
Yep.
No. Michael wrote all that himself and
Cool.
and then arranged it with Jochen Neuffer and Jules Buckley.
Okay.
And Sam Gale is the third arranger on that one.
Cool. And are you guys already working on that? Or I guess it's already.
It's done.
Recorded?
Yeah,
Okay.
the first single came out, I think like last Friday actually. But I do have something coming out October 26th.
October 26th?
It's whatever that Friday in October is, 24th.
Which project is that?
I think it's actually the 24th. That is a Mark Lettieri project.
Great.
Mark Lettieri group project featuring the WDR Big Band.
Cool.
Which is a jazz orchestra big band in Cologne, Germany. They've been around for 100 years. They were like one of the original kind of public-funded jazz orchestras. They do this in Europe. They fund jazz.
What funding the arts?
Funding the arts.
That's a crazy
anyway,
concept.
enough of that. Okay. But so they've been around forever. They've done collaborations with Michael Brecker and all these great artists. And one of the producers there helped me release Deep the Baritone Sessions Volume 2, which was a great record for me. And so he was like, well, hey, the WDR would like to do something with your music. And so they brought in this great arranger named Michael Abene, old school Italian American New York guy. Hey Mark, how you doing? It's a cool track, man. Check this out. What do you think? Yeah. And it was great. And he writes everything by hand.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what they did is they took my music, Michael took it, and he flipped a lot of it inside out and extended some things and wrote all these really beautiful big band horn arrangements.
Did you just give him a demo?
I gave him the studio records,
okay,
and some charts that I had made just for rhythm section stuff, and I think some of it was even like the guitar tablature that had the staff, it had the notation, so if he wanted to see the melody, there it was.
Yeah.
And so he came up with these crazy arrangements, and then we went over to Germany and spent a couple days rehearsing and recording it all pretty much live for the most part. And then
wow.
Yeah, so that record's coming out. I'm pretty excited about it. It's interesting. It's
you like how it turned out?
Yeah, it's different. It's very different. But I think if you already know my music and you like it, I think you're gonna find this to be really interesting.
Out on Ground Up or?
Yeah, it is coming out on Ground Up. So it's like I think it's Mark Lettieri Group meets the WDR Big Band or something like that.
What a cool project.
Title, yeah. So we'll see. It'll be fun. And then we're actually that band. All of us are going to be playing shows in 2026 in Europe doing the big band thing. So
great, yeah. The whole German band's going to be. How big is the band?
How many guys are in that group? 20 something.
That's going to be an epic tour bus.
I don't know what we're going to do for that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. They probably have, I imagine they probably have their own bus.
They got a setup for it.
Yeah. It's probably a nice coach bus or something.
Yeah.
Probably not, I
someone
don't think
sleeping
it's
on
I don't think it's a sleeper tour. I think it's probably like
Yeah. Weekend
spot
trips
dates.
out.
Exactly. Yeah.
What a fun thing.
Yeah, man.
I'm curious to get into some guitar nerdiness.
Okay.
What have you been working on lately?
Like practicing?
Yeah, like how do you practice and what do you shed these days?
Well, I don't really have a practice routine, which I know people hate hearing that, but it's kind of the truth.
Fair enough.
I'm just not disciplined in that way. I mean, at some points in my life, I was. There would just be sort of hours in the day when I knew I could play guitar. Mm-hmm. What that meant could be anything from just noodling over the same progression for 2 hours, or just goofing with pedals, or jamming along to a CD, or practicing a technical thing like a scale or whatever.
Yeah.
My practice has always been very scattered. It's just kind of like, what do I feel like doing for the next 2 hours that I have? When I'm done with this, am I going to feel somewhat fulfilled and a little bit better than I did 2 hours ago? In some way. I don't know what that way was going to be at that point, but
yeah.
I try to write a lot. I'm not nearly as prolific as, which is funny because I have like 9 records, but I wish I had 90.
You've been a slacker, Mark. You need to get on it.
I wish I could spend, a little more time writing. But anyway, point being, that is a way that I practice, is through composition. I'm just playing a lot. Like there's always something to play, like stuff to practice so I can sound better on my own gig. Or maybe there's a session that comes through my email box and and I'm spending a couple hours on that, working that out, and then I'm practicing like being more efficient at answering emails. And stuff like that.
It's spaced repetition.
I mean, I'm
practice.
always hyper aware of my phrasing and how to approach solos. Sometimes one thing I'm trying to get away from is kind of like in a aggressive kind of solo is pulling the ripcord a little too soon with some kind of epically fast thing that occasionally turns out to be sloppier than it should be. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really trying to be mindful about that, because I can tell as soon as I enter that world and pull the ripcord to bail out, I think sometimes I bailed out too early.
Let the energy off.
Yeah.
Before it should be let off.
Exactly. So I'm trying to be more patient, I think, in my lead playing.
Can you talk about how you construct a solo? How do you think about that?
Well, a lot of it just depends on the song, first of all. I think that's the first thing. The song, the arrangement, the groove. I mean, that's really what's going to inform the way I'm going to solo over it. Unless I want to take it so far out of left field just to make some sort of comedic statement or something. But even if you do that, it's still got to be in tune and in time. But I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like you're composing a miniature song. Whether or not you write a solo or just improvise it, it should have some sort of like beginning, middle, and an end, right? And there should be little bits and pieces that kind of relate to one another. And that's a lot to think about on the spot, obviously, but it's just one of those things where the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, and kind of the more aware of your own sound you become. You just have to do it a lot. I think you've heard the 10,000 hours thing. It's probably like more like 50,000 hours.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And there's no magic bullet or pill or whatever terminology you want to use. You just have to do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And put yourself in situations where you're not going to sound good.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody tells you don't sound good.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah. Thankfully. Stop telling people they sound good if they don't sound good. Help them out.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be complimentary and you can be encouraging, but
Yeah.
If it's someone that wants to receive that kind of input, sure. But like, I think the problem is everyone's just always like, "Oh man, that was amazing," and deep down you're like, "It wasn't amazing," and whatever. You can every case is a different scenario, but like, I like one day I got off stage at a jazz club in Dallas and I thought I played great, and the guitar player named Todd Parsno, who I look up to, he might be watching this, I don't know. He goes, "Man, that was great. You should start thinking about tone." And I was like, "Oh," but he had a great point.
Yeah.
Like my sound probably wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, I probably should Like I got all these cool licks, but if the sound coming out of the amplifier is butt, then
Yeah.
like, you know, Todd was complimentary, but also like, you know, hey, young man,
Yeah.
think
Think
about
about
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
That's good constructive
Yeah,
feedback.
exactly.
So
So
did you
constructive.
start thinking about tone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's probably still sounds like butt sometimes, but yeah, I did. I was like, you know, how can I make the sound that's in my head come through my fingers and come to the audience so that it's
Yeah.
and fit with the band and
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, what do we got to tweak to do this and feel to do that? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a constant quest.
Well, on that note, can you tell us a little bit about this guitar?
Sure. Yeah, this is the PRS Fiore guitar that I helped design with them. It's been through quite a lot. As you can see, it's all dirty, and but that means I play it, right?
That's good.
Yeah, it's swamp ash body, maple neck, 22 frets.
Common swamp ash?
Is it common swamp
yeah.
ash? I don't know. It's from over there probably or something.
Yeah, it's just that swamp right
yeah,
there.
it's. I think it's a two-piece body or something.
Is it? I don't know. Are there many guitars made out of swamp
Yeah,
ash?
it's a very typical wood for bolt-on neck style guitars.
Cool.
But I've always kind of liked the sound, the response of it, the weight, you know.
Yeah.
We worked really hard getting these cool pickups together. I've always liked a humbucker in the bridge, so we did that. I've always liked a two-post tremolo because I'm used to that. We got this nice kind of weighted trim arm. The switching is pretty cool. You can get, I think there's like 11 different combinations of pickups.
Oh wow.
Because these are series parallel. This one is a series parallel, and then this one has a way of engaging these two pickups. You can get like all three, you can get these two, you can get this typical 5-way.
What a cool thing.
And so, and that was just based on a couple other old guitars I'd had that had that option. And I was like, well, this makes a lot of sense. You can do this and not sacrifice sound, you know, tone. So yeah, I designed it kind of to be like my do everything kind of guitar.
Yeah.
But also like for other people who needed like a do everything guitar, and that seems to be the way it's been received. So says the feedback.
You mentioned yesterday, I think when we were talking before your class, and you were talking about the rounds of feedback that you went through for the pickups. Can you talk a little bit about how you were thinking about that tone crafting?
Yeah, sure. We started with the neck pickup, I think, because a single coil neck pickup is kind of like my main sound for most of the melodic stuff that I'll do. And when I say melodic, I mean like melodies. You know, in Snarky Puppy or in my own music, a lot of it's on the neck pickup. I also like it for recording, you know, rhythm guitar. And so it needed to be right first. And they did a really good job getting the neck pickup, you know, just really.
Yeah, it's warm.
Really nice, warm, but also if you just put the tone control on 10, it brightens up.
Yeah.
So it has a really cool dynamic range if you just use the tone control.
Tell me about like the iteration process on the pickups themselves.
Cool. Well, we worked pretty hard on it. We started with the neck pickup because that's the single coil neck pickup is just a big part of my sound for rhythms, leads, melodies, whatever it is that I'm doing. So I wanted to make sure that was right, but I also wanted to make sure that it was versatile. And so we ended up with this really full, but very articulate neck pickup that is really responsive to the tone control. That was all the way on 10. But if you don't want that much brightness, roll it off and you still get a little bit more warmth, but that little top end articulation is still there. And that was something that I was kind of wanting out of this guitar, because sometimes single coils like sound really great in a trio, but then you get them in a bigger ensemble and they kind of disappear. Or vice versa, they're too hot, and then they don't sound sweet enough in a smaller iteration. So I wanted to make sure that this was a very responsive pickup to the tone control.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we got that right pretty quick. The bridge pickup was a slightly higher challenge because that sounds awesome.
That is awesome.
I didn't want to just like drop in an aftermarket humbucker and be like, cool, there we go. I wanted them to really work well together because of the oops, battle scars, because of
I'll send you another one.
because of this feature here puts these two pickups together, so you get the kind. Almost like Telecaster-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, if you go full humbucker, it has to have enough bark for leads, but it can't be too
Yeah.
for clean.
That's basically a different guitar. That's pretty wild.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was 3 very distinct sounds, but all 3 of those I use all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, like the neck pickup, chording, solos, rhythm guitar, the doubles, the 2 neck and bridge I use for all the kind of like. All the funk stuff that I like to do, and then the bridge pickup is for leads and rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to kind of do all the things.
Yeah.
So we ended up having to make this. It started out a little too weak. It was a little too airy. So we started packing it in a little more low mids, and I like where we arrived. And
what a cool art.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of it. My mom did the little Fiore logo here.
Come
well,
on.
Man, it's like I had to.
Awesome.
Well, how many signature guitars did you get in your lifetime?
Yeah, man.
So I wanted to,
Bring
incorporate
Mom
it.
in.
Well, my kid kind of picked the name for it.
Oh, yeah.
So Fiore
Fiore.
is Italian for flower,
Cool.
and she's kind of a little genius. Because I showed her this original red, and I was like, "What do you think?" She goes, "It looks like a flower."
Yeah.
I was like, cool, okay. She's like, I'm going to call it flower. Okay, so I was like, well, I got some Italian heritage in my family, so what is that in Italian? Oh, Fiore. Well, that sounds great. Branding, ad guy. And then
finally put the degree to use.
But it made a lot of sense because a flower blooms, it blossoms, you get all these cool, sonic features in a guitar. That's what I wanted. The guitar is like it blooms, it blossoms. It's this whole thing. So yeah, all wrapped up into a sellable package.
There you go.
So yeah, Mom did the little truss
painter?
rod cover. What's that?
She a painter? Or?
She's kind of a sculptor / found object designer. So she makes sculptures. It's really cool stuff. You can go to MarianneLettieri.com.
Cool.
And check it out. They're
Is she
these
giving
big.
you a kickback?
I should probably pay her. I know. She raised me, and then I'm taking all the royalties now. Just kidding. Yeah, they're very big installations with, everything from like railroad ties to sewing machine parts to like,
Wow.
it's wild stuff. And it all represents certain things. She's done a lot of pieces based on music and all sorts of stuff. So you can check it out. So I was like, well, Ma, you got to do
That's so cool.
And so she borrowed some kind of like inspiration from some Italian Renaissance stuff and basically sketched this.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty neat.
What a cool thing.
Yeah.
What does your pops do?
He's a PR guy. He was a PR guy. They're retired. They're chilling. Well, Mom is art, but Dad's chilling.
Yeah.
He was.
Was art for your mom post-retirement, or was it something she did?
She studied it in college,
Uh-huh.
but then ended up working in kind of like graphic design, I think. But then it sort of turned into PR. That's how my parents met.
Cool.
Silicon Valley at like a trade show or some shit. But then
You make it sound really romantic.
well, I don't know. Like, they tell the story better than me. All I know is my dad had this like really kick-ass '70s mustache and like big.
Oh, that's what did it then.
curly,
That sealed the deal.
Totally, probably wide lapels or something. But anyway, so she got kind of back into art as I got a little older.
Are they musicians too? Do they play?
My dad plays guitar. He's not a professional musician, but he likes to strum his Bird songs and his Jackson Browne songs. And so I'm very, very thankful for having him in my life, always have a guitar around and always have great music. And, he showed me my first couple chords, of course. So
Yeah.
every now and then we'll still jam on it. It's kind of funny because I have a lot of guitars now.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
a lot of them are stored at my parents' house. So I'm like, Dad, if you want to go play the whatever custom this, that, and the other, it's in the closet, So it's good. Very grateful for them.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So what's on the docket for you? What's coming up?
What is coming out? Okay, we got the Snarky Puppy records coming out, I think, in maybe November. But before that, it's the Mark Lettieri group and the WDR big band record that's coming out at the end of October. And then in November, well, actually, depending on where you live, I have some shows in Dallas in October. And then in November, I have some shows with Corey Wong at the Blue Note, and then some shows at the Iridium in New York City with the Mark Lettieri group. You can just go to marklettieri.com, click tour, and all of the dates are there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, man. Before we go, what's the story of this pin?
This is the Shimmy Tiger. So I put out a record last summer called Can I Tell You Something, which also I think is pretty good. And you can check it out. And I had an artist friend of mine turn me into a cat. And I don't know why. I was like,
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I said, can you make me like a cool guitar playing cat? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to. And Anna Lang, she's fantastic. Look her up. And so anyway, the album cover has this cat guy who we call the Shimmy Tiger because that's the name of the single from the record. And my manager friend made these little pins. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mark, thanks so much for being on the show,
thanks,
man. I
Spencer.
appreciate your time.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.